Hey friends, we are back with part 2 of sculpting your own little Labubu. That's right, get your Lafufus up on out of here. These guys are sought after, highly sought after. I've been trying to get one myself since starting this project, and it's kind of driving me crazy. I guess I could pay $650 for one, but that's crazy talk, right? So yeah, these are all the rage. So if you can sculpt your own, you're ahead of the game. So we're just continuing on, obviously, from the last part, and I'm paying more attention to the face, the likeness, if you will, for the Labubu. You know, now that I've got the teeth, the nose, the eyes in place, I can concentrate more on the layout of the face and relationship between the nose versus distance between the eyes, and how high above the teeth line is the nose, and so forth. So a lot of just tweaking. And you can see now I'm working with the teeth a bit more, trying to refine the shape of those, and I'll come back to them later as well. So at this point, let's move on with the eyes. And kind of a unique thing with the Labubu is this subtracted kind of iris. Is that what it is? No, subtracted pupil / iris, I guess, that is indented into the whites of the eyes. And you know, some of this newer reference that I have on the left, I wasn't working from those, so you know, I can see that I didn't nail that quite right. It looks like there's still kind of a, I don't know how to phrase it, but a curve there that happens. It's a little different. Now, I'm not a big fan with working with curves in Blender. You can see I'm trying to draw a tube on the face, playing with the different settings over there in the stroke settings. This is something, you know, that still kind of eludes me. You know, I would think that it should snap to the surface, but then it, you know, the initial point snaps to the surface, but then it aligns to an invisible plane or something, so it's a little tricky. So I apologize, we're all at different levels, and you know, maybe one of you can drop in the comments if you know better how to work with these curves to make it a little bit more predictable. But I decided starting from the center of the mouth, bottom center makes most sense, and then played with some smoothing. And once I got, you know, the thickness and the smoothness of the curves essentially where I wanted it, I will delete the curve and then work with it just as a mesh type of an object. And here I'm trying to move it because you can manipulate the curve a little bit, but I tend to just make things worse a lot of times when I do that. So just trying to document kind of the struggle here, so that if some of you jump in here and run into the same things, you can see that, you know, hey, you're no worse off than I am. And so you can see at this point I've deleted the curve in that stroke menu, and now I'm just positioning it the best I can. I'm gonna throw on a high Dynamesh so that it merges the two separate pieces together, and then just using Move and Smooth Brush. The edges were a little high, so I used the knife brush to cut those down. And then this gives me a guide to kind of align my teeth to, and it's looking that much more like a Labubu. And then I finally realized, like, yeah, that nose was a little high. It might still be a little high, or the middle of the teeth need to come up. There you go. That's what I ended up doing. So you know, some of you may have noticed that earlier and you were like, look a lot better if you would just do that, you know. Now I'm masking the mouth curve, stroke, whatever you want to call it, so that I can just work with the teeth, since they were part of the same geometry for a minute there. And then, you know, I can split those apart or just use them as I'm masking. So you might notice the layout changed a little bit here. This was because I decided to have the reference up on my iPad using, I think it's called ZRef or something like that, and it's similar to PureRef, but that kind of condenses the real estate for ZBrush, so it looks a little different. Because prior to this, I had all the reference up on my desktop computer and was using ZBrush at my desk, but now I'm sitting in the recliner and working away. So you can see I defined kind of the shape of the face a little bit better, you know, because it was a little off. Now going to mask, I'm going to change it to curve or to lasso, and lasso some of the face area down there so that I can use the clay build-up brush to build up that fur down at the bottom so that it's nice and tight to the new bottom line of the face. And at some point I will actually separate the face from the body, from the head, and we'll use the remesher on there to get to an even smoother result, because right now it's a little lumpy. You know, exploring those brows a little bit better. I was happy with kind of where that was going, and like I mentioned in part 1, you know, I thought about even using separate shapes that I would insert in for the brows and then Dynamesh them together, but I decided against it. Now using the move brush to just kind of sculpt the shape of the head a bit better, play build up to flesh out some more fur patterns, if you will. And for this tutorial, I'm focusing on the front of the Labubu the most. You know, I still want to fill everything on the back just so that it's there, but just focusing on the front so that you guys can see kind of my process. But ultimately, you would do the same level of detail across every square inch of fur on your Labubu front and back, especially if you're gonna 3D print it or something. And a note on 3D printing, I would recommend exaggerating kind of the texture, so make the fur texture even deeper and more coarse, because especially if you're doing resin printing, as you kind of, you know, post print, you need to kind of clean up the surface and soak it in alcohol and different things, and then that tends to smooth everything out and wear down some of the details. So that's my recommendation, is just make it even more pronounced so that when you get into 3D printing, you're in a place. Back to the face, you'll notice that I jump around. You know, I don't just finish the face or just finish the fur and then move on to the next thing. And that's something that I was taught, in school, be it elementary all the way through college, when learning to draw, paint, and then sculpt, is it just helps give your eyes a break. You get in this mode where, hey, I want to finish this area and just make it perfect, but you need to give yourself a little break, get away from it, get to another part of the model, and then you come back to the face, for example, with some fresh eyes, and then you see like, oh, I thought I was close to being done, but there's actually more that needs to happen here. Or, oh, this nose needs, a little bit more shape to it. It's a little shapeless, if you will. So those are all things that happen. And then when I go back to the fur, that can get kind of tedious, but then I'm, fresh. I'm ready to give it some more love, because I had some success on the face, and then I come back and it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a little thicker. You can see I throw down a few strokes with the clay buildup, and then holding shift, smooth it out. And that's my main process for creating stylized fur in ZBrush. Like I mentioned in part 1, and you'll probably see it again later in this video, but I'll use the rake brush and the dam standard brush, which I'm using now, to sculpt it in and get some deeper areas, some different looks. It's an explorative process a little bit, and then at this point I'm kind of like, is there another brush that's better than dam standard, some type of carved brush? I tried the fold brush, and that gave me kind of some real deep but jagged lines, but kind of like after I smoothed that, what that did. So you can see that there are 101 different ways to accomplish what it is you're looking to do. Again, going back, because I remembered at one point in ZBrush there were some carved brushes, but I think those may have been deprecated. I'm liking this one. This gave me some nice, clean, deep slashes. It's kind of nice to add that dimension. Yeah, so that's feeling pretty good. So figure out your own style, and you can see I'm still in symmetry here, so I don't want to spend too much time here in the center, but I know that it's a living process basically, and I realize I'm going to be redoing a lot of this or working over top of it, but part of it was me exploring these brushes to try to see how they work. And as you may or may not know, ZBrush does have grooming features, so you can have more lifelike hair or fur, but should you want to 3D print your model, that's not going to cut it. So you are going to need sculpted fur. So that's my design here, and let me know, drop it in the comments if you would like me to document my 3D printing process for this little guy, and I can print it both ways. FTP, what it's called, FTM printing, the traditional style as well as the resin printing. So now you can see I didn't record this section. For some reason I forgot to hit record, but pretty straightforward. I just masked out the face and separated it using the subtool menu, split, mask points, and then had this on its own layer or own subtool, and then you'll see I will, explored a little bit of the ZRemesher, but then decided, you know what, I'm going to use the ZRemesher brush first to draw in some curves, just to kind of guide the result a little bit and show like, hey, these are some areas where I would like some edge loops, and kind of have to redraw your lines a few times sometimes because they get attracted to each other. And I should have gone to the menu and changed some settings on curves, because you'll remember when I was drawing the mouth curve, I changed some things. But now ZRemesher, I turned my curve strength up quite a bit, and then did a Z-remeshing. Then I turn off adapt and select half, remesh it again, and see how that's looking. And I'm not trying to go super low res here. I'm just trying to get it where I want it. There were a couple of straggler polygons, so I used delete hidden, and then using the Z modeler brush on faces and all faces, I extruded it. Then it came out, inside out, so I had to go to geometry, display properties, and then flip those. Now I'm just using move and smooth to kind of clean up the edges, because they got a little whacked, little cray, because obviously this was just a rough kind of clipping. So at this point, I've got the face on its own subtool. It's got some thickness. It's been smoothed out a little bit. I'm going to go in here, use the smooth tool to clean up some of those areas that weren't as smooth as I hoped, and still using the same tools, clay buildup and smooth, as well as H polish, to get things where I want. I think that's just a slightly better, or maybe a little more than slightly better result for the face, to make it look more like the toy, the reference down here. And if you're really trying to create something flawless, then after making these edits to the shape, you might even want to go through the Z-remeshing process again. But I decided that I was able to get it smooth enough for my purposes, and some of these edge areas where it's not as clean as I would like, I can always go to the fur and clean that up a little bit. So that's part 2. There's one more part, at least on this ZBrush phase, so stay tuned.